Well, thanks for joining us for KBOI 2 News Midday. I'm Brian Moore, and let's get right to your top 11 stories at 11. Some neighbors in Meridian say, not in my backyard. A developer wanted to have this field rezoned so he could build storage units. The problem? It's zoned residential and happens to be next to some pretty pricey homes. Neighbors packed city council chambers to have their voices heard. What they said and the city's decision in just a few moments. United Water officials are warning about a new phone scam targeting Idaho residents. The company says a scammer is calling customers claiming to be a company employee. Then he tries to collect on an overdue bill. The company says if you receive a call like this, do not give out any financial information. United Water says it does make calls to customers with an outstanding balance, but the company uses an automated system. And the company goes on to say that official calls will always say United Water in the caller ID. Investigators are now releasing the name of the man shot and killed by an eastern Idaho deputy. They say 31-year-old Tyrell Larson sped away from a traffic stop. Larson crashed, then pointed a rifle at the deputy. The deputy ordered him to drop the gun. He refused, so the deputy opened fire. The FBI and the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division are investigating the fatal shooting of a black man by a white police officer in South Carolina. The agencies will look for whether the shooting amounted to a federal civil rights violation. North Charleston patrolman Michael Slager is charged with murder in the death of Walter Scott. Slager fired 8 times from behind as Scott ran away following that traffic stop. The incident was caught on video by a witness. We will have more on this story in a few moments. And a Boise restaurant closes for cleaning after a few diners reported getting sick from salmonella. The Central District Health Department says 5 customers who ate at Faux Tam in February or March has tested positive for the illness. The most recent case showed up just last week.
We have an inspector out there today who's visiting with them, kind of going over proper food safety controls, and then we will follow up with a full inspection here in the very near future.
CDHD took samples of raw food and did test the restaurant's prep surfaces. Everything came back negative. They didn't find any salmonella. The department says it's still working to figure out the source of the sickness. The Blackfoot City Council in eastern Idaho has unanimously rejected a proposed ban on plastic bags. Council members say research they did led them to conclude such a ban would be government overreach. Snake River High School senior Haley Lemon proposed the ban in February as part of the 16-year-old's senior project. Jury deliberations continue today in the trial of accused Boston Marathon bomber Johar Tsarnaev. Jurors spent 7 hours yesterday but couldn't reach a consensus. Defense attorneys for the 21-year-old suspect admit that he was involved in the bombings but claim he was influenced by his older brother. Tsarnaev faces 30 counts related to the attacks. 17 of those carry a death penalty potentially. A former BYU Idaho student is headed to jail after he changed his grades on his college transcript. According to the Idaho Falls Post-Register, Jacob Mahonry was an employee at the school, and he used his system access to change his grades from failing to straight A's. The student also used the fake grades to qualify for more than $7,000 in academic scholarships. Mahonry has been sentenced to 180 days in jail and 5 years of supervised probation. The NFL has hired Sarah Thomas to be its first full-time female game official. Thomas, who has worked exhibition games, will be a line judge for the 2015 season. The 41-year-old Thomas has been in the league's officiating development program and worked some team mini camps last year. Now, another lady, Shannon Easton, worked regular season NFL games in 2012 as a replacement official, making her the first female to do it in any capacity. She also was a line judge. Well, hundreds of sheep will soon be taking up residence in the foothills on their way to their summer grazing areas. And officials want to warn hikers and bikers to be careful when you get near them. The sheep themselves aren't a risk. It's the dogs that come along with them. The guard dogs can be aggressive and take anyone approaching or passing by the sheep as a threat.
So the best way to diffuse that situation is get off your bike and then keep your bike between you and the dogs and talk to the dogs as they approach. And it's like, hey, you know, it's okay, it's cool.
If you go hiking in the hills with your dog, it's a good idea to keep it on a leash, especially when you spot sheep. Those sheep and the guard dogs will be in the foothills near 8th Street for the next couple of weeks. And it was a big project to complete a small move requiring many hours of meticulous planning and careful execution. Now, this cabin at Boise's historic Pioneer Village has a new location, 17 feet away from where it once stood.